Morning all, welcome back. It's Monday morning and yeah, I've just got my van emptied out and we're all loaded up now. Look, a 225 service and I've got a Mechlac dumper with a radiator cap to go and fit. Just got a little bit of admin to do. I've got some warranty bits and pieces that I need to send off to my man in HQ, so I've just turned my Wi-Fi on now, so hopefully that'll boot up and I'll get some stuff sent away. So I had my 30th birthday over the weekend, or yesterday actually. I turned 30 and got myself a vacuum, look. So for anyone that knows us, they know I like to keep things nice and clean and tidy, so portable vacuum to keep the inside of the van nice and clean. Very good. So I'll have a bit hoover around while that Wi-Fi boots up, and then I'll send some warranty bits off and crack on with the day. So first job of the day today is this Mechlac 6-ton dumper, and coolant's leaking out this filler neck here, so I'm just going to pop this cap off with a rag. There we go. See, the seal's all distorted there, so I've got a new one. Pop that on. This job is a good one. Coolant level still alright, so that's that one done. I'm telling you, I get all the good jobs. All the good jobs. Right. I'll tell you what, the paperwork will take longer than the job itself. So I've just got off the phone to my next customer. This digger is 56 minutes away. It's out west and it's a 225 LC3 that needs serviced. They've kind of been servicing it and I've been servicing it, so it's around 4,000 hours they reckon. So I've grabbed all the filters and what we don't use we'll fetch back. So weather's dry at the moment, so let's crack on while it's still sunny. I've got this 20 tonner to just a 500 hour service thankfully, so again I'm going to do the final drive oils, engine oil, 2 fuel filters and a pilot filter. But yeah, 2016 machine, it's only done 3,500 hours and it's tight as a nut, like really nice machine. In fact, I remember at my old spot PDI in this machine, it's got a couple of nice extras like the rotate kit, direct return to tank, and it's got a Prolec kit on it as well, so that allows you to sort of set the machine up with height restrictions and things like that. So that's what that thing is on there. But yeah, it's nice. It's been well looked after. I do remember with this machine about 18 months ago there was a bit of bother with fuel on it, and I drained the tank, but it's filled back up again with muck, so we'll clear these filters out and see what it's like. He hasn't had any complaints of it bogging down or anything, or any error codes to suggest. So yeah, another thing that I've spotted up here is a bit of black soot about it, and this rubber pipe here is leaking exhaust gas for the EGR coolant. It's made a bit of a mess up here, like, so I'll try and reposition the this rubber pipe and the Jubilee clips, but in my experience it's just for 12 quid or whatever it is, that bit of rubber pipe, just replace that. So yeah, crack on. Something as well to watch with the older Dash 3 diggers is there's a part number change for these water and fuel filters. So this is the newer style for the bigger ball, which is what was in the filter kit. But like I say, I've stocked some fuel filters on the van, and I've got the correct one because I've came across it before. I always stock both types of fuel filters, just because you never know. So this was serviced back in October 2020 at 3,000 hours. It's on 3,500 hours now, and like I say, I always change the final drive oils, and if only you could smell the smell that was coming out of there. My word, I have a feeling this is going to be pretty black stuff coming out of here. And that new van smell, if it's not already gone, it certainly will be by the time these empty drums have sat in the back of the van. Oh yeah, look at the colour of that. That is definitely due a change. God, that stinks. Right, so I've got this filter off, and it wasn't sort of chock-a-block with muck, but it's actually like a blue dye for this white diesel carry-on. The customer's obviously dyeing his diesel, so he knows if he gets any nicked, then it's going to be a different colour to usual. So that's what that is. But when I've looked at the filter head, there is still, you can see, a bit of muck in there. So there, you see it. So I'm still going to strip the head down and give it a good clean out. Nice sort of muck that's come out of it, look. It's all up in there. Right, that's the machine service. So as part of the service on these old Dash 3s, you've got this diesel injector here, and I always take it out and clean it, and I'll show you for why in a minute. So this machine's running DPF after treatment on it, and this here is the water jacket where the diesel injector screws into. So these two pipes here are full of coolant, and the injector screws into here, and this is obviously the exhaust manifold, and you can see the gasket here where the injector sits, and much like that AdBlue injector, it can build up with like a carbon crust, and that affects the spray pattern. So you can see now how big the hole should be. So I always just pull the injector jacket off, give that a clean out, and then same with the tip of the injector, I'll just give that a clean off, so it's spraying atomized diesel as opposed to sort of dribbling diesel in, because that can poison the DOC, which then blocks the DPF, which then causes white smoking out the exhaust when it's doing an auto regen. So how regeneration works on this machine, some machines do on the exhaust stroke, they'll inject diesel with the cylinder injectors on the exhaust stroke to push diesel into the exhaust, which then hits the DOC, diesel oxidizing catalyst, which is the first piece of the sort of DPF filter arrangement. That's like a honeycomb in there, that swirls and mixes the diesel with exhaust gas, which then raises the temperature in the exhaust, which then burns out the sort of black soot particulate matter into smaller, finer pieces before it leaves the exhaust. So the idea of a DPF filter is to reduce the soot that's going into the atmosphere. Soot like this stuff here that's covered the exhaust coming through the EGR cooler. But on these Doosan machines, they use this separate diesel injector on the exhaust manifold, and that will spray diesel in when it's doing a burnout, and that's what raises the temperatures in the exhaust. So obviously if that diesel injector isn't spraying an atomized mist of diesel and it's just dribbling in, it's like putting diesel on a fire. It just sort of white smokes, which was a common problem on these Dash 3s, especially 14 tonners, because the 14 tonners also had this same engine. So this is a 20 tonner 225. The 140s also had the exact same engine, just with a lower horsepower map in the ECU. And obviously 14 tonners on building sites don't get an awful lot of hard work, so the tip of that injector would sort of block up a lot quicker with soot, and then it wouldn't be able to do active regens and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why a DPF machine might produce white smoke. It isn't normal and it shouldn't do it. So if you are on an older machine that's got white smoking problems, it is a problem. Don't let it develop or leave it. Right, that's that service complete. I did get little bits and snippets in there, but I was chatting away to the driver. It's one of the nice things about this job is you get to meet and chat away to folk that are sort of got some great stories to tell. But anyway, that's that job done. I've just pulled up. It is 3 minutes past 1, so I'm gonna have my lunch. But yeah, I'll show you what I'm looking at the moment. So I'm just down in Workington at the moment, and yeah, just 2 minutes down the road from where I was servicing that digger. You can see timber yard over there, great big lever, unloading and loading those wagons up with timber. I think that was loading it up actually. Now I always thought the timber wagons came here and got unloaded, but they may be buying timber in from, you know, Europe, where it's maybe cheaper at the minute. Anyway, if you look all the way over here, that's sort of the other side of the estuary, the Solway, and sort of about here, behind those hills, is where Castle Douglas is, HQ. I bet if there was a bridge over there, it'd take 15 minutes to get there. Anyway, right, I'm gonna have a sandwich and I'll watch some heavy plant moving around. Right, I'm at my next job. Behind that JCB is a 6.5 ton digger. It's just wanting us to have a look at it for controllability, so it's a little bit jerky and a little bit jumpy, so you're just going to level that bit of laying out down there and then fetch it up to us. So we'll have a look. I'll be checking the pressures of the machine and just having a good nosy over it, probably make some adjustments, and shouldn't be too long with it, hopefully. Right, so this machine is jumpy when you're grading up. So I'll show you what they mean by that, or what he means by that, because I've had a quick go just now and yeah, it is. I'll just try and find somewhere to put you, hold on. Right, so I've got you resting on my legs, so it might be a bit wobbly this. So yeah, when I stretch the arm out and try and bring the bucket in with sort of like 2 or 3 inches off the ground, it sort of does that little wobble before it kind of sets off. So yeah, it's almost as though the machine's out of sync. The joysticks feel quite responsive. I mean, the up and down function's quite smooth, but the in and out quite jerky when you stop. The joysticks don't feel too heavy, as though the pilot pressure's too high, but yeah, we'll have a look. The first thing I'm going to do is just bleed that check valve. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, the oil from that check valve, the oil that goes into this check valve to unlock it is just shuttling up and down this pipe. So if there's any air bubbles in it, it'll act as like a cushion because air can compress and oil can't. The air acts like a bit of a cushion. So what I'm going to do is just crack that pipe off and pull the dipper arm in until there's a steady stream of oil coming out of here. Right, so I have made some adjustments and the machine is performing a lot better. I'll show you in a minute. What I've been using then is my digital pressure gauge. You use these probes here, you sort of screw them in, that's a 1/4 BSP thread. Screw them in at the point where you want to check what your pressures are, and it's really handy. You just plug them into those ends there. You can have 2 pressure sensors in at once, which is quite handy for setting pumps up and things like that. Yeah, so this machine, it's a 6-tonner, and if I show you the hydraulic pump, which is around here, this is the hydraulic pump. So unlike that 14-tonner that I showed you the other week there, this is just one pump and it's a load sensing pump. So it does behave, it does have different characteristics to the pump on a 14-tonner, but it's just one pump. This isn't split into 2. So this is your main feed pipe coming off the pump, and I'll show you where that goes to in a second. This is where your main feed comes onto. So it feeds this side of the valve chest, and this side of the valve chest comes round here, in the valve chest here. Now, because it's only got one pump, you don't have a pilot pump on the end of it like you do on the big machines. You get a 220-ish bar of pressure down this line into this aluminium block where you've got what they call a pressure reducing valve. So it drops 220 bar down to your pilot pressure, which then obviously goes up to your levers. Now I did find that the pilot pressure was a little bit low, which sort of made that arm a bit slow to react when you're coming in. So it was, instead of coming in nice and slow, certainly at the sort of stretched out part, it was doing that before it would catch up. So yeah, I've checked my pilot pressure, it was low. I have made some adjustments, and yeah, like I say, I'm not gonna show you all where to adjust that because goodness me, there'd be all sorts of carry on if folk are left to make adjustments like that. So I'll put it all back together, and I've said it once, I'll say it again, I'm not a digger driver, but I can keep that bucket about 1 inch off the ground all the way towards us, so I think that'll be all right. Obviously the customer isn't here today, but tomorrow's jobs, I'll only be 20 minutes from where I am now. So if he's having a go with it tomorrow, if he's still wanting it a bit tweak, then we can nip back over and have a look at it. But I think it should be all right now. So a bit of free information now. This is a DX63. Also on the DX62s and the DX85s, there is a changeover valve on these machines to make the heavier pipework here, what we'd call the hammer lines, go from single acting to double acting. So single acting, you would put your hammer on. For double acting, you might have a log grab or a selector grab or something like that. So to make those lines go from single acting to double acting, inside the cab here, just inside the doorway, there's this rubber grommet. You'll pull that out and you'll see in there, that there is a changeover valve that changes it from 1-way to 2-way. So you need a 24mm spanner or an adjustable, and it's just a 1/4 turn, and it literally goes from stop to stop, so you can't sort of overturn it. So that is where that is, because the amount of phone calls I get, obviously with people that haven't run the machines before, but They'll come on the phone. I've put this hammer on and it's not hammering very hard, or I put this grab on it and it's only closed and it doesn't want to open. What have I done wrong? That's where the valve is. Even when I try and explain to people, it's just inside the doorway to the left hand side under the floor mat. They still struggle to find it. So yeah, that's where that is, for anybody sort of needing to know. Like I say, it's pretty bad to judge, because you almost start to compensate for the fault, and then you're not sure whether it's the machine or whether it's you that's sort of making it dance about a bit. So we'll give it back to the owner, and he'll have a go with it tomorrow, and just go from there. It's not too far out of my way to nip back and give it a little bit more of a tweak or a little bit less of a tweak, we'll see. So right, it's 10 to 4 now, so by the time I get back through the yard it'll be 5 o'clock finishing time. Another Monday complete. Looking like a busy week anyway. I've got a shovel to service on Thursday. I've got a 14 tonner and an 8 tonner to look at tomorrow, 2 8 tonners to look at tomorrow, and Wednesday I'm not too sure yet, but there's plenty simmering away at the minute, so we'll leave it at that for today. Thanks very much for watching. Oh, and thanks everybody as well that wished us happy birthday. A nice weekend, long weekend, so it was good. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed the video, give it a like. For more bits and pieces, head over to Ali's Digger Diary on Instagram. Have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.